Hello and welcome to the StartupBREW Fargo podcast. StartupBREW is a weekly event hosted by Emerging Prairie in downtown Fargo, where we believe that entrepreneurship is energized over brews. Each week, we bring entrepreneurs, founders, and innovators together because we believe they succeed when they have access to each other and the community that supports them. This week, we explored the theme of games with Sarah Carlisle, founder of the Travel Escape Room, and Michelle Mortinsen, founder of the Magic Meeple. We heard from Sarah Carlisle, who founded Minnesota and North Dakota's first ever mobile escape room in 2017. She likes to call herself the introverted business owner in the entertainment industry, but to recharge from her exciting work, she likes to spend time with her 4 kids, gardening and caring for monarch butterflies. Let's listen in to hear more from Sarah.
All right, my name is Sarah Carlisle. Thank you guys for coming out this morning to listen to me talk about my startup travel escape room. Just a little bit about myself. I grew up in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and I moved here to attend school at MSUM. And I actually graduated with a degree in elementary education, but instead I kind of took a little U-turn and went into the tech field, and I worked there for 11 years. And while I was there, I was a project coordinator, and we were always looking for activities like team building challenges. What do we do to get our teams together? And at that time, I booked my first escape room at Fargo Escape Room for my husband's 40th birthday. Aging myself now. And, well, first off, before I get a little bit too much farther, has anybody done an escape room? Just show of hands, just so I know. Oh, yay, so many people have done it. Does anybody not know what an escape room is? It's totally cool if you don't, because a lot of people don't. Awesome, everybody knows one, so I could skip that part. All right, so we booked this room, we get there, and we realize that we are in the room with 5 21-year-olds also celebrating a birthday, really drunk, at 11 a.m. So I'm thinking, this is gonna be a disaster, my husband's gonna hate this, but we allow our sober selves to be locked in a room with them for an hour. And it was the most exhilarating experience I had had in a long time. And I don't know, I get emotional sometimes, but it was so fun, you guys. And we got out of that room with 32 seconds on the clock. And I was just like pumped, and driving home, I'm thinking, we have to do this for our office. We have to do this. And then that idea kind of turned into, I can do this for our office. So I talked to the director of our company. I said, we have this abandoned room upstairs that nobody uses. Can I build an escape room? We'll put on a team building challenge for not the company, but for the building. And he was down. So I built one, off hours, didn't get paid for it, you guys, unfortunately. And I hosted an event, and it was a big hit. People loved it. There was a employee survey that was sent out that asked, how are we doing? And one of the things a common thing that popped up was, we really liked that escape room. So they asked me to build another one the next year. So I did. And again, really good feedback. People were telling me, you need to start an escape room business. And I'm like, you guys, whatever, no big deal. And at that same time, we found out that they were laying off about 200 employees at our building. They shut down the Fargo location completely. So I found myself a little bit at a crossroads. And I really loved working in tech, but I also wanted to do something a little bit different. And of course, in the back of my brain is just yelling, escape rooms, but I'm not a risk taker. I don't take big risks. I'm a drive 4 miles max over the speed limit kind of person. But I also knew that moment right there would not be another moment like that again. So I took it, and very, very glad I did. It's like the most rewarding experience. And there's definitely struggles with starting a business that nobody has ever heard of. So for example, there's Fargo Escape Room was already here. I wanted to be a little bit different. And so, how could I be a little bit different? I decided, well, how about being mobile? I didn't even know if mobile escape rooms existed, but this was a way I could set myself apart. And doing that, tons of struggles with trying to convince people that what I was doing was safe. I got turned down for insurance a lot because I think they thought I would be driving down the road with people in my room. I'm not sure. And working with DOT and trying to explain that I'm pulling a 32-foot trailer, but I'm actually not hauling anything, was really complicated for them. So in fact, on my Department of Transportation is what DOT stands for. What it says on mine, I'm written down as other, and it just says hall's a living room on it. But with all the struggles of starting a business, there have been so many rewards. This is the most fulfilling job for me. I get so much joy watching people come together, and when they solve a puzzle and they're celebrating and jumping up and down, I'm in that back room. I'm going, yeah, guys, I'm cheering them on. At the same time, when they're struggling and can't figure out a puzzle, I'm in the back and I'm just like praying for them, and I'm trying to root them on, secretly. They can't hear me, but I'm with them when they're in that room. And it's just been such a great experience, and I'm so pleased that I get to do it. Right now, I actually have a challenge called The Mysterious Disappearance of Cousin Ned. And Cousin Ned is a little bit of a hippie, a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, and maybe a little bit of a cryptozoologist. I don't know if you guys know what that one is. But while you're kind of trying to put the pieces together, figure out where Cousin Ned is, you're going to figure out a little bit more details about who he is actually as a person, too. So it's kind of fun. I love building that story that make it really immersive. There's more components than just solving the game. In fact, if I've piqued any of your guys' interest, I am doing an event here on Sunday at Fargo Escape Room. It's Escape Fest. And I'm doing a little teaser challenge of Cousin Ned. It's just a 15-minute game, and there'll be me and a new mobile escape room that's popped up here in North Dakota, and some food trucks, and I think it might be just one food truck, I'm not sure, and obviously Fargo Escape Room too. So it would be really nice to see you guys there, and that would be really great. Thanks, you guys, so much. Really appreciate it. Have a great day.
Next up, we heard from Michelle, who's a retired truck driver and moved to Fargo about 2 years ago. She's always loved playing board games and began collecting and building her own personal collection in hopes of one day owning her own game board cafe. And a few months ago, her daughter replanted the idea in her head, and it stuck. And she just opened the Magic Meeple. Let's listen in to learn more.
Hello, thank you for having me. I'm not a public speaker, so this is very intimidating for me, so thank you for not throwing food. I opened the Magic Meeple. I've always had a love for board games, and I always, the Monopolies and the Sorries and the Scrabbles, and, I thought, oh, those are board games, and they are. But a few years ago, when we were living in Las Vegas, we were looking for things to do that weren't gambling related, and we came across a place called Meepleville Board Game Cafe. We walked in, and I think I walked into heaven because all of a sudden there was like lights and angels started singing, and they had 2,500 board games to play. And it was an epiphany for me. I thought to myself, this is what I want to do with my life. And as Jessica said, I'm a retired truck driver. I drove on and off for 24 years. Started driving in the military and just continued after that. So I wanted something different. It's gotten quite dangerous out there, and just time for a change. Time to just do what I want to do with my life and follow my dreams. So about 5 months ago, my oldest daughter, Hannah, she's 22. She's a student at NDSU here, and she's the president of the Gaming Guild. So if anyone has students there, or send them her way. She just told me, "Mom, just do it. Just do it. There's no stopping you. Just do it. You've always been that person that just does what they want to do and doesn't let anything stop you." So it kind of got the ball rolling. I thought, well, where do I even begin? I just started scourging Facebook Marketplace, looking for tables and chairs and anything I could find, that I could eventually put into a store. And I went into this very, naively. I thought, I can do this. I don't have to have loans. I don't have to take out any loans or borrow any money, and I didn't. I did it. I've opened my doors 6 weeks ago, debt-free. I got everything in my shop it's eclectic. But I've also had a the response has been, this place is so cool, it's so welcoming, it's so homey, it's so cozy and comfortable, and that's what I want. I want people to come in, and I want people to feel just like it's a place that they belong, because so many, especially in the gaming community, it can be very cliquey and it can be very intimidating when you walk into a room and you have all these hardcore gamers that are playing and you just want to play a board game, but you don't really know what you're doing. So it's just a place where you walk in. I'm going to greet you personally. I'm there all the time, literally all the time. I don't sleep. I don't eat. I just play board games. But I'm going to greet you. You're going to come in. I'm going to know your name. I'm going to learn who you are. I'm going to learn what you like. And I'm going to try to sit down with you, and I'm going to try to introduce you to new games and just make you feel like it's a place that you belong. And I was trying to figure out how to set myself apart, from others. And because there are other gaming places around, not really a place that you can play 7 days a week, but I wanted to set myself apart. And the way I can do that is customer service. And I will go out of my way to make you feel welcome and to make your experience a good one. But the journey itself has been a whirlwind, to say the least. When I started, I had no idea what I was doing. I still don't, but I had no idea what I was doing. I just started collecting furniture, collecting games. Every Saturday I would hit every thrift store in the area and collecting more of the common games that people are used to. My garage filled up really, really fast. I contacted a realtor, and I didn't know what to do. So every day it was a learning experience. What do I do next? And it was I learned as I went. And I just don't think people should be discouraged because they don't have enough finances or because they don't have enough experience or enough knowledge on something. You learn as you go. And that to me was really, really a strong learning point for me, was just everything I've learned along the way. I got told no. I don't like being told no, but I got told no. And the first place I put an offer in, he says, "Oh, it's going to be too noisy. We got people living upstairs." Fair enough. Okay. So I didn't let that stop me. But in the commercial real estate, something I learned, it's a kind of a hurry up and wait game, kind of like the military, kind of like truck driving. You hurry up and wait. And so you put an offer in, and then you wait, and you wait, and you wait some more, and a month goes by, and then they say no. So finally, the third place, they said, "Sure, we're going to give you a chance." And I talked him into moving in with no money down, putting out the security deposit to a month out. So it's just, there's things you can do. Don't be afraid to negotiate and to think outside the box, come up with a creative way to do it. And that's what it's all about. And so 6 weeks ago, on August 28th, I went full force, opened my doors, and it's been very positive ever since. Right now, it's just really trying to get the word out. I haven't spent any money on our advertising, which is probably a downfall, but at the same time, we have such great resources available to us nowadays, like social media, Facebook, Instagram. I just did a website all on my own, which I felt accomplished because I'm not tech savvy at all. So it's just finding ways to do things. You just can't give up. You have to keep pushing forward and keep finding ways. And when there's a wall, you just either have to climb it or break through it. And if you let it stop you, then you're really gonna never go anywhere. So keep pushing on, keep breaking down those walls, keep going through, and eventually you're gonna get to where you wanna be. And we're a work in progress. We started with 230 games, and now we have just hit the 400 mark. So you come in for $5, you can play all day, and any of the 400 games that are in the library. And we're not a full, when I say board game cafe, people think, oh, I can come and get an espresso, and I can get a pastry, and yeah, it's not quite like that. But I want it to be one day, but then I'm discovering that to build a kitchen, you have to have all kinds of regulations and things, and it's a lot of money. So until I get people in there playing regularly, then eventually that's in the plans. But yeah, we have snacks and sodas and different drinks, and it's just a fun place. It's a good date night, it's a good group night, it's a good team building. we do birthday parties, just anything you can think of. I am open to any idea, and I've just learned that, don't say no to people, and just listen to what people have to say, and they may have a great idea that you haven't thought of, and eventually, it all comes together. So I hope to see each and every single one of you. I'm memorizing faces. Hope to see you all there. Come on out, check it out. Even if you don't play, come on in and just let me give you a tour, and maybe something will catch your interest. But hope to see you guys there. Thanks for having me.
After the presentation, we jumped into a live Q&A session with the audience, joined by me, our host, Jessica Anderson, from the Emerging Prairie team. Let's listen in. We're going to kick it off with some celebration. So I want to ask you guys, what is something that you two are proud of in the last year?
For me, probably just surviving COVID. I was completely shut down last year, so opened back up here in April, and I'm just glad I could hang on.
Absolutely. Michelle?
Well, a year ago, I was sitting in a snowstorm in Wyoming. So I've come a long way since then, and I think just following my dreams and doing what I've wanted to do and making it actually happen. So that's what I'm most proud of.
Awesome. Do we have any audience questions to kick us off? Right here?
I have a very basic question. Where is your space?
We are located on 13th Avenue South. We are the building with the blue awnings is what everybody seems to refer to it as. It's right by the Wendy's, and we're right next door to Natural Pet. I think it's between Page and West Track. Yes, the Promenade on 13th. That is what it's called.
Mid-cycle's on the corner, right? So that's like a good landmark.
What is?
Mid-cycle?
Yes.
Okay.
Question back there?
Thank you for these inspiring stories. I just wanted to ask about if you had any good mentors or guideposts along the way to navigate the goal from a more traditional career into this entrepreneurial.
Did you want to take that one first?
Absolutely not. It's been a journey of one. And I don't mean that totally true, but my kids have been an inspiration. They're all adults now, and they've really been supportive of me their whole lives. So that was my push. But as far as like turning to somebody and saying, hey, what do I do next? I had nobody. And it's nice to know that things like this exist, and I wish I had known about this prior to starting the journey, but I'm glad I know about it now. So I definitely, anytime I get a chance to tell people that, they tell me they have ideas or want to do something, I try to steer them, try to be that mentor that I didn't have and let them know about places like this.
For me, I guess I have probably 3 mentors I can think of. My dad owns a business, and so I kind of always had big shoes to fill. And actually, he thought I was crazy for starting this, but he supported me. And like I mentioned before, I didn't know if there were any mobile rooms in existence. So I looked on the internet, and I found one in Chicago, and I contacted the owner, and I said, hey, can I shadow you for a little bit? Learn from your lessons learned. And so I went to Chicago for a week and kind of followed and learned some ropes and learned some lessons from him, which I found very valuable. And changed a lot of things that I probably wouldn't have done if I hadn't spoken to him. And then finally, I also took a class through co-starters through Emerging Prairie to get me started. And it really helped me kind of build, my vision and help me really kind of go to my goals and know what to expect and understand that there's going to be struggles. So those were all very valuable and helpful for me.
Awesome. Right there?
One of the people in our row here made the comment about bootstrapping, so I'm also very impressed with how hard you work. 2 questions. One, I'd be interested in what your biggest obstacle is that you had to overcome through your whole process. And then the other one would be, I have 4 kids. How do you keep track of all the pieces in the board?
I just throw it all in a bucket and grab a handful out, and whatever comes out. No, actually, it's been really good. People have actually been very respectful with keeping track of things. I kind of came up with a little number system to match the box, so, but even that is not foolproof. So there's always going to be missing pieces.
I think for me, I am my biggest obstacle. I am very introverted, and my best business always comes from connection and connecting with people, and it's just something I don't do naturally. So that's always been my biggest struggle. I really have to kind of push myself to go out the door and do things I don't always feel comfortable with doing.
I would say the biggest obstacle has been the lack of finances. Like I said, I went into this quite naively, so thinking I could do it debt-free and stay debt-free. I did it debt-free, but it's not going to stay debt-free. That's just reality. But yeah, I would say don't let it stop you, but also try to educate yourself as much as you can when it comes to that stuff.
Let's go right here.
Yeah, I have a question. What are a couple, three of the most unusual board games you have?
Oh, I could list a lot. I'll list my favorites. A Feast for Odin. That is probably one of my favorites. Underwater Cities. Terraforming Mars. Obsession. There's all kinds. I never knew there was a world of board games beyond the Scrabbles and Monopolies, but there's so many. And once you start playing them, you want more, and then you want more and more. So.
Right there.
This is kind of for both, though mostly for Magic Meeple. You talked about creating that space of welcoming, invitingness. That's kind of your distinctive there.
Mm-hmm.
A big part of that also would be like the kind of culture and community among your clients who are coming in that you want to cultivate and develop and support that. Would you like to distinguish some specific distinctives about the culture you want to develop there among your regulars? And say like what kind of culture people that come to your mobile escape rooms, what kind of distinctive culture do you see or want to develop by shaping your particular challenges?
Absolutely. I just want nice people. I want people just to be nice to each other and to come in and to feel welcome, to be all inclusive. I don't want it to be a place where people walk in and nobody talks to them, or they don't feel like they can join another group that are playing. Many times people come in by themselves, and before you know it, they're playing with a group they just met, and they're laughing and having a good time. So I really want it just to be a place that everybody feels welcome, literally everybody. I don't care if you're black, white, purple, orange, gay, straight, I don't care. Come, play, have fun. It is what it is. And that's my main goal.
I think for me, probably similar to you, escape rooms really cater to a wide variety of ages. We have kids come in and we have grandparents come in. And so for me, what I try to do is I feel that people really enjoy when they go into an experience that is completely different from their norm. So I try to make my rooms really stand out. When you walk into a room, it's going to be, you're in a different world at that moment. And I think that really draws people in.
Right there.
How do you develop your stories for the escape rooms?
Driving. Anywhere, I could be right here. My mind's I'm always building things in my head. I just get inspired by just the littlest things. I'll see a commercial and think, oh my gosh, that could be a really kind of cool escape room theme. Or, I'll see an ad in a paper or something. My stories come forever. I have probably a backlog of 10 or 15 stories written down that I'm just like, which one do I pick, that's one of my favorite things to do is building the challenge.
Jordan.
For the mobile escape room, I kind of see a huge market here with corporate, entities. Like you can park outside RDO for a week, or Border States, or any of those larger employers, and have departments come through. Have you had any success with those companies or that sort of thing?
Yeah, I've done some team building challenges for. I'm zoning out now. What did I just do? Dang it, Aldeveron, yes, thank you. And I did train in Minneapolis for about a week. I camped out there and just, as you said, I did an hour-long challenge for a bunch of their employees. I've done stuff for Sanford as well. And it really depends on what they want. I can do 15-minute challenges. I can do 30-minute challenges. I can do an hour-long challenge. And when I do those types of events, team building events, I have certificates and that I hand out, to like the fastest team or the one that makes me laugh the most, things like that. Kind of gets silly.
Right here.
Kind of following up on the culture conversation was, from being a small business owner myself, what is your ideal demographic and the ideal customer that gives you life in your business?
I can start if you want. Believe it or not, there's actually escape room conventions out there. And I attended one in St. Louis, and they actually do studies on escape rooms. And one of the sessions that I went to, they mentioned that, your key demographic, the person that books you the most, are women ages 30 to 50. I guess, on average, they coordinate more events. And so that's my demographic, I guess.
I would say mine, it's board games in general have typically been a more male-dominant genre, but I would say, I don't know, it's kind of a mixture. We get everybody in there. We get little kids. We do werewolves on Wednesday nights, and we have a 7-year-old that plays with us, and he kicks our butt. And, and then we get all the way up to, we haven't had any yet, but, the older generation, the 80s, 90s, it's a very good cognitive thing to play board games. So I would say our demographics are all over the place, young, old, male, female, doesn't matter. They're just kind of all over the place. But I would say what I typically see in the store gosh, it's all over the place.
Right here.
Have you ever thought of, both of you, have you ever thought of developing merch as a form of marketing that you get people involved in your stories? Or I think you mentioned books, like little short stories that we could have like as a commemorative afterwards, or for yourself, like Meeple t-shirts, or even like your business cards have a different type of Meeple on the back. People could collect them all, sort of thing. Have you ever thought about using those types of things to not only give yourself better marketing, but to like have people have something in hand to tell somebody about, like, okay, so I just escaped this room, you guys, it was amazing. Here's a story that I got out of it, like.
I actually tried to get some, like a little brochure, not a brochure, what do they call it? The little pack, that little rectangle cardboard thing that tells a little bit about our business and tells a little story. I tried to bring it today, but it didn't get delivered in time. So I try. But, I'm always trying to think of, how can I connect more and what can I do? And I've kind of thought about t-shirts, but I don't know if I really don't know if that's kind of the reception. My business is a little bit different than most escape rooms. So I do think about it, but I haven't really found that aha idea yet. I got magnets. Does that count?
Stickers that say I survived or I escaped. I definitely want to get into like having t-shirts and different things. Starting up with very limited finances it hinders what I can do, but I feel like I'm on repeat when I say it's in the plans, but I do want to have all that stuff eventually, and I'm always trying to think of different marketing things that I can do to draw people in, so I'm open for ideas.
Right there.
So this is for Sarah. Sarah, can you tell us about how long it takes you to create the escape room, and also how often do you change it out?
Yes, that's a good question. Just so you guys know, I work with Jill at Insight Consulting, so she's putting me on the spot. It really depends. So like I said, I have kind of an idea in my head already, and I'll kind of go back just over time while my rooms are running, and I'll tweak it a little bit, maybe the storyline would be better if it was like this. And so over like a process of 3 years, I'm probably building an escape room in my head while my other escape room is running. I actually just switched out my first puzzle. I had a puzzle called Christine AI. She was smart home technology gone awry. And And I flipped it out now with Cousin Ned, and I pretty much do the design and between my husband and I got to give him credit, he's the builder. And it's basically just us two. So I usually have a really big idea of what I want, but the reality of what I get in the time frame that we have is usually something completely different. So it really just depends on, you know, how much time we have available, and generally I'm probably tweaking that thing for months afterwards and when I've released it, because as people are playing it, I'm thinking, oh, I don't know if I really like that. And I do test out my puzzles, but as I see, you know, more people play it, I kind of, you know, think of better ways to do things and modify as I go. So it's generally, I try to focus on about a month long to build, and I'll be tweaking it a little bit along the ways, but the design takes probably a couple years.
Hannah?
What would you say is your most successful advertising technique currently, and then what is like a type of advertising that you want to get into next, like social media?
Go ahead. For me, I started off just with Facebook. I started just putting things out there, and you know, I was excited when I had 10 followers, and I was like, oh, this is good. And now I have like 430 followers, and you know, to me, that's like, okay, I've done that. And so that's probably my most successful so far. I know it's not a lot, but it's growing every day. I'm always looking for ways to get the word out and to advertise, and I just honestly don't know how to do it without spending a fortune. So I don't know how to advertise other than just the social medias, the Facebook, the Instagram. I just created the website. I just got a sign put out on the marquee on the street side. So I have an artist that's going to paint the windows. So any way I can to advertise, I want to do it. I am on Google Maps. My daughter set me up on that. I thank God for this generation, because I would just be sitting there like, on a phone book by myself if it wasn't for them.
Yeah, I think, you know, for me, advertising always has been a struggle as well. I know the benefits of doing social media, but also doing social media is hard because you have to keep that algorithm alive. You know, you have to keep posting and keeping people likes, and that's been a real struggle for me. But I think for me, the most valuable advertising I've had has by far been word of mouth. I get a lot of fairs that contact me and said, man, we heard about you at this fair and we'd really like you this year or next year. So I mean, I have bookings out for next summer already, and it's mostly all just through word of mouth.
Yep, we have time for one more.
Have you ever thought about going to the 55 and older communities with a brochure or something? Because they're not always on social media, and you might just, you know, something in here.
Definitely. I would like to, I've just changed my hours now, so I have a little bit of time on Mondays and Tuesdays, and I want to hit those areas because there's different card clubs, you know, Bridge and Canasta and all the different card clubs. And so I want to be able to go face to face to put myself out there and say, hey, we have a space, you know. Bring them on. Yeah, it's something different. It's affordable. They can gather with their friends. I mean, they could probably do it in their own clubhouses, but, you know, they can come here too. So I definitely want to try to reach out to that population as well.
I haven't done too much about that. I do know that people 55 and older are probably the least likely to know what an escape room is. So it is a little bit harder to market. You know, it's a little bit more explaining. But most people that do it that are in that age range really enjoy it. So it would be probably a valuable thing for me to do.
Awesome. I want to round us off on our last question. So we are your biggest supporters here today. What is one thing we can do to energize and support the work that you guys are doing?
Word of mouth, you know, like she said, just spread the word. Let people know that we're out there. Let people know that we're available. They can come and check us out. You know, that $5 that you pay to play the games, if everybody did it, it goes a long way, you know, to keep the business running and to keep the doors open. So just tell everyone you know, whether you're a gamer or not, whether they are or not, just tell them. They might know somebody who might know somebody, and so forth. So, yeah, spread the word.
Yeah, I think, kind of the same. Obviously, word of mouth always has been very successful for me. And as I mentioned before, I'm not the best at social media, but I'm trying. So follow me I'm mostly on Facebook, Travel Escape Room. I'd really appreciate a like, and I'd really appreciate, any support you guys can give me on there. That platform would be great.
Awesome. Well, let's give them a huge round of applause. Thank you guys so much for joining us. That's all we have for this week's StartupBREW Fargo. Thanks for listening in. StartupBREW Fargo is energized by Emerging Prairie, an organization dedicated to connecting and celebrating the entrepreneurial ecosystem. We'd also like to thank the following sponsors for their support: Pro Resources, Brady Mertz, FMCVB, Office Sign Company, Fargo Parks, FM Area Foundation, Midco, and Fargo Brewing Company. See you next time.